Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Today's video is just a personal thing really, my view on a certain topic, and that topic is music theory. What I hope to show are the benefits of having a working knowledge and a familiarity with the use of music theory. Now, whenever I post any kind of tuition video which has a theory element to it, there is usually one or two people who comment below the video saying, "Oh, this is all just balderdash and piffle. Who needs theory? That's just rules, and who needs rules? Just be creative, play what pleases your ear." And hopefully I'm going to counter that argument today by showing the benefits of knowing some theory and being able to use it. But before we go any further, I just want to say a big thank you to one correspondent in particular who disagrees with me on the benefits of knowing music theory, but he always does it in a way which is polite, civilized and courteous. And in an age where it is now sadly becoming normalized that if you disagree with someone, it's okay to throw a milkshake over them, I think it's beholden upon the adults in the room. You know who you are, you and me, who disagree on music theory. We disagree, but we do it civilised, and I think it's beholden upon us to kind of show the toddlers the correct way to behave. So there you go. Anyway, I'm not going to get on that particular hobby horse anymore, but I am going to get on the music theory hobby horse. What I want to do is show you, by use of an example, really, how you can use music theory as a source of inspiration, not as a restrictive rule book telling you what you can't do. I'm going to use it hopefully use it as a way of showing you ways of exploring things and coming up with musical ideas that you would have been incredibly unlikely to stumble across just by using feel or intuition, or instinct, or any of the other words that people often use as surrogates for guesswork. So, without further ado, I think it's time we looked at choosing a scale to use. Here's some information. Right then, here we are in Guitar Pro, and I'm going to use the Scale tool, which basically is a tool that tells you what notes are in pretty much any scale you can think of. In this column here, you can choose whatever root note you want, and being a typical guitarist, I'm going to go for A, because we all love playing in A, don't we? And then if I click into this column here, I get all types of different scales. There's the A major scale, for example, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp and G sharp. There's the intervals between the notes, and up here you can see where all of those notes live on the fretboard. Now obviously this is a little bit daunting, I guess, to digest all of that information in one big lump, but break it down into smaller sections, each spanning maybe 3 or 4 frets, and you can get some hopefully easy to learn, easy to remember scale patterns that you can play around with on the neck. Now we're not going to go with an A major scale. I want something a little bit darker and more exotic and sinister sounding, so all of that sort of stuff seems to live further down the tree down here. Now that's an interesting one, the Byzantine scale. I used that once upon a time on a tune that I wrote called Scheherazade, which is on my last album, Handles for Folks, which is available on Amazon, Apple Music, Google Play, Spotify and all major platforms. Just saying. Keeping going, there's the Enigmatic scale. That's one that Joe Satriani famously used on a tune called The Enigmatic. And just going down here, I'm looking for something that's, a little bit dark sounding. And that one there just leapt out at me a little bit because it has this interval between the root note and the sharp fourth, A to D sharp. That's a tritone, 6 frets, 3 tones, and it's a very dark and sinister sounding interval, which is why so many metal bands use it. It's central to the riff of a tune like Black Sabbath. It's also in the Enter Sandman by Metallica, just not this scale, just this tritone sharp fourth interval. It has a very, very dark, unsettling sound, which is, quite pleasant if you like that sort of thing, and I do. So, the A Hungarian minor scale has the notes A, B, C, D sharp, E, F and G sharp, and there they all are on the neck to start messing around and putting melodies together. But before we get to that stage, we need to figure out what sort of chords we can get from this, so let's crack on with that. Okay then, here we have our Hungarian minor scale. And I think you can hear it has the desired sinister, slightly dark sound. What we need to do now is look at what chords are in there. Well, the notes, as we described, are A, B, C, D sharp, E, F, G sharp, and then back to A again. So, A, B, C, D sharp, E, F and G sharp. Well, the A, the C and the E will give me a nice A minor chord. The G sharp and the D sharp and the C, well, that's a G sharp major chord. So I can go from an A minor to a G sharp major. It's quite pleasing. F, A and C, that's an F chord. So A minor, G sharp major, F, and then how about an E augmented? Yeah, I can get that. E, G sharp and C. So I'd have something I'm quite happy with that. So now what I need to do is just make a quick little loop of that and then start noodling around over the top of it to come up with some kind of melody for it. I'll see you in a moment. Right, so I've had a little bit of a fool around with the scale shape over the top of that chord sequence. I just knocked a little jam track together in Chord Pulse. And I think I've come up with a melody that kind of fits it and sounds pretty close to that sort of dark, sinister, slightly threatening kind of sound that I was aiming for. And, well, it sounds like this. Basically like that, and yeah, that has the desired sound that I was looking for. And what we really now have to ask ourselves is, if I didn't have an understanding of how to figure out what chords are able to be generated from the notes of a scale, if I didn't know what notes were in the scale, it's perfectly possible, I suppose, that I could have come across this scale pattern, this group of notes, the Hungarian minor scale, just by noodling around on the neck. But if I didn't understand chromatics, kind of knowing that E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, and so on. That's music theory. If I didn't understand that, I wouldn't have known what those notes were I was playing. I wouldn't have been able to figure out what those notes were. I wouldn't have known that I can make an A minor, a G sharp major, an F major, and an E augmented chord from those notes. I wouldn't have known, for example, without the theory knowledge, I wouldn't have known where those notes would fall elsewhere on the neck. A little bit about composition theory, knowing which notes are the strong notes to hold onto over this chord, which notes are the strong notes to hold onto over that chord, phrasing theory, beginning on one side of the bar line, ending on the other, that sort of thing. All of these things are all dependent in some way or other on music theory. And you can just happen across them by accident, I suppose, in the same way as, an infinite number of monkeys and an infinite number of typewriters will eventually give you the complete works of William Shakespeare. But having that knowledge and having that working relationship with the theory and knowing where it all kind of slots together like Lego bricks on the neck of the guitar just makes it so much easier. You can hear the sound in your head and know what that's made of, basically, and know where to find it on the neck of the guitar. You can also do what I did here, which is to explore a new scale, something that you didn't know previously. I didn't know what the Hungarian minor scale was. I discovered that in real time, as you saw me doing it in the earlier clip in the video. And once I'd figured it out, I knew how to play it on the neck of the guitar. I could easily figure out what chords it would generate, and I could come up with a melody over the top of it, all through having a working knowledge of music theory. So there you go. That is the case for music theory. I hope I've been convincing here. Maybe I've changed a few minds. I suspect there's a few minds that will never be changed on this score, but that's fine as well. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I've certainly enjoyed making it. It's been a journey of discovery for me. If you've enjoyed it as much as I have, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all the rest of the stuff. I will just take a moment to mention, of course, that I have a couple of courses on sale on my website. There's the URL. The link is in the description below as well. And there's a course on playing lead guitar with modes, and there's a course on basically an introduction to lead guitar. I think there's one called Making the Modes Easy and Play Lead Guitar the Easy Way. I've explained all the details, what's in these courses, plenty of times now. Check them out. You get free previews on both courses, so you can watch a big chunk of the course without having to pay a penny, and they are quite heavily discounted on the Udemy platform at the moment, so treat yourself, why not? Or if you prefer some tailored one-to-one guitar tuition, then get in touch with me via the details at the end of this video. If you live on Teesside in the northeast of England, you can come along for a face-to-face lesson, or wherever else you are in the world, you can have a lesson via Skype, and whichever way you do it, your first lesson is, of course, free, so what have you got to lose? And with that, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you all again next time around. Bye for now, folks.